Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Evil Dungeon Masters AD&D universe. I'm your host Vince. Hopefully you're doing well out there. I know I am. If it's your first time here, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And now on to our AD&D topic of the day, I guess we're gonna call it that. So most AD&D fights teaches players one lesson: hit harder, bring better gear, stand in line, trade blows until something just basically drops. That lesson works too often, and it trains really bad habits when it comes to playing the game. It trains noise, it trains speed, it trains certainty. Gary knew that this was a problem, so he put monsters in the books that quietly punished those habits. Monsters that did not care how to you sharpen your sword, or how bad it was, or how good it was, or how many spells you have memorized. Monsters that waited for you to pick the wrong choice is what happened. Monsters exist for a reason, and most tables kind of missed that when it came to the game. One monster in particular I'm talking about is the Flail Snail. The When people tried to use it, they usually turned it into some type of joke or a loot pinata or something, or a random weird encounter that basically slowed down the game. And this is really what it's not for. Now, why did Gary put this in the Fiend Folio, or why should I say, why was this put in the Fiend Folio? Gary liked monsters that attacked players' assumptions, not character, just assumptions. The Flail Snail fits this very specific gap in the monster lineup. It's a low to mid level encounter monster that is not really about hit points. It targets the party that rely on magic as their primary solution. It lives in places where players expect safety: caverns, tunnels, underdark routes, places already cleared of like real threats. What it does matter that other monsters do not is simple. It invalidates spellcasting without announcing that it's doing so. Not with like an anti-magic zone or anything, not with dispels flying around every round. It just kind of exists. And spells flail, flail because it's the flail snail. They just kind of fail around it. Gary liked pressure. He liked the trade off. What happens? He liked monsters that forced you to make decisions. And this monster, the flail snail, and sometimes it's hard to say the flail snail, forces a choice the moment it appears. Now, do you keep casting and hope, or do you stop the thing you built your character around? Kind of interesting. This is very Gary. What problem was it meant to solve for this monster? The primary problem this monster was meant to solve is spell dominance. In early AD&D, magic was powerful but kind of fragile. Limited slots, long casting times, dangerous interrupts. Over time, tables sand those edges down completely. Parties planned around magic as the answer to everything. Light, firepower, control, escape, healing. The game quietly drifted towards spell play first in a lot of sense. And the Flail Snail is a speed bump in that whole drift there. At the table, it solves the problem by punishing automatic casting. Not recklessly, but really not lethally, but consistently. So picture this. The party is moving along through a long tunnel, right? And it's a winding cavern. They've probably been here before, or maybe they've been in an area like this before. They know the route. It's something they traveled through. Maybe it's in your campaign. They've already cleared up this area and they're going through this area to get to another part of their adventure. They are talking over to each other, and they're blah 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 blah. The magic user's like, "I'll just throw a fireball if anything pops up." The cleric is like, "Yep, I got some buffs ready." The thief is kind of half checking for traps while going down there and checking for whatever else. Then this big giant flail snail pops up out of nowhere. Slow, obvious, non threatening, honestly, other than its size, almost unimpressive. The wizard casts away. The spell fizzles. Or worse, it rebounds back at him. Uh oh. Now, the room is chaos. The lights out. A spell effect hits the wrong target. The party freezes for a half a second. That half a second is the point. No stats need to be read. No special rulings needed to be explained here. The table learns the lesson immediately. Magic is not really safe when it comes to this area. They need to think again. Most tables broke the snail flail into three very specific ways, in my opinion. First, they treated them like a normal fight. They rolled initiative, traded blows, and killed it as fast as possible. That turns it into a slow sack of hit points, pretty much. Once that happens, it really teaches nothing. Second, they dropped it at the wrong level. Too low, and the party gets wiped out by accident. Too high, and the fighters erase it before the magic even matters. It needs to appear when spells are common but not infinite, usually around the point where players feel the confidence in the area, confidence of using spells to get out of their situation. Third, and this one is probably important, they ignore the behavior. The flail snail is not an aggressive in the way most monsters are. It doesn't rush at you, it does not chase far, it just reacts. It defends. When a DM, plays like a charging beast, the design of the whole thing just basically collapses. What GMs actually did was throw this into random encounter tables with no actual setup, no context, no reason. The party fights it once, complains, loots the shell, and never really thinks about this creature again. And that's not the designer's fault or the monster's fault. It's basically the way it's run. Here is a single fix that makes the snail flail actually work. Do not use it as an encounter, use it as terrain. Place it somewhere that the party needs to pass through more than once. A common area, tunnel junction, cavern, a choke point, near water, fungus area. Let them see it before they fight it. Let them watch spells fail near it. Let them realize they have to plan around it. The moment you do this, everything changes. The party starts debating: do we lure it away? Do we wait? Do we use regular mundane tools? Do we risk noise? Do we come back later? Now, the flail, or the snail, I should say, is starting to do its job. It's not killing anyone, it's draining time, confidence, and certainty. And that is the pressure that a good DM needs to put on a party. Because the game's not just about going around and smashing and crushing things. It is basically a game of back and forth. Now, a little bit more of an example here. The party has cleared out most of the lower cavern complex. They're using it as a shortcut between two sections of the dungeon, which typically happens when you're going through large mega dungeons. On the second trip through, though, they see this snail. It wasn't there before because maybe it was too slow in an area and they kind of blew past it. Maybe it was in the shadows. You really don't know. You, as the GM, obviously will know, but the players do not. The wizard casts a light spell out of habit. It fails. The torch flickers instead. The thief throws a stone. It bounces off the shell with a dull kind of clang. The snail reacts slightly. No charge. No roar. Now the party has to decide. They are low on torches. They were planning to rest on the other side. The snail blocks the easiest path. So what are they going to do? They're probably going to try to muscle their way through this. So the fighter jumps up there, starts swinging away. The flail snail responds, not deadly, not just painful. The cleric hesitates to cast because of what happened to the wizard. They back off. A couple minutes pass. Wandering monster check. That roll matters now. Eventually, they lure it away with noise and food. It takes time. It costs them spells they did not want to use, get to use. When they finally pass, nobody feels clever. They just feel tired, and that's exactly the point of this monster. Stepping back, the flail snail is not really exciting. It's not really cinematic. It does not create heroic stories on its own. It creates gaps. awkward pauses, bad options. Gary understood that a dungeon is not a sequence of fights. It's a pressure cooker. Monsters like this turn up the heat without spilling any blood. If you treat it like a boss, it's gonna fail. If you treat it like scenery that bites back, this creature will definitely sing. So the snail here exists to remind players that magic is a tool and not a guarantee. It punishes habits, not characters. Have you ever watched a confident party go quiet because their best option stopped working? And what did they do next? That is a good question to ask. Have you used this creature in your campaigns? Was it like I've described? It's kind of just an encounter thing. You rolled it, a giant snail. They kind of just beat it to death when it was time. And it's just a low intelligence creature with a neutral alignment. And as far as I'm looking at it, and I'm going to put it up here on the screen. Hopefully, it's been up the whole time. But it doesn't really have much of anything about it. It's got a little amount of hit points. It's got a hard shell on it, and it's just a creature that's going to put a lot of pressure onto the players to think again about what they want to do. Tell me what you think about this creature. Ask the DM at theevildm.com. You can comment on YouTube, comment on Spotify. You can send me an email or go to theevildm.com and you can comment on the blog post. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to head out. Keep it original. Keep it old school. Good night and God bless everyone.